In the small town of Hawkins, Indiana, life is supposed to be peaceful, but in 1983, something crawled out of the darkness. Something that was never meant to see the light. This is the story of Stranger Things Season 1, a story of a missing boy, a desperate mother, and a gateway to the world with no mercy. It's starting with four kids: Mike, Dustin, Lucas, and Will, playing Dungeons and Dragons in Mike Wheeler's basement. Laughs, shouts, the thrill of beating the monster in the game. But on the way home, Will Byers faces a monster that isn't part of any game. The road is silent. His bike cuts through the night. Then, and only then, a noise, a shadow, something chasing him. Will runs home, locks the door, but the creature walks through the wall and Will Byers disappears. The next morning, Joyce Byers feels something is terribly wrong. She calls everyone, neighbors, police, friends, but no one has seen Will. People tell her to calm down, but she hears a sound. The phone rings, heavy breathing, lights flickering. She knows it's Will. A mother always knows. Meanwhile, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas decide to look for Will themselves. Rain pouring, flashlights cutting through the dark, and suddenly they find a girl. Thin, shaking, head shaved, wearing a hospital gown. Her name? Her name was Eleven, or simply Elle. But the strange part isn't the name, it's the moment she closes the door with her mind. Soon we learn the truth. Elle was experimented on at Hawkins National Laboratory. The lab accidentally opened a rift, a gateway to another dimension, the Upside Down. Elle made contact with it during a telepathy experiment. She screamed it heard her and came through. Back at home, Joyce noticed something strange: lights turning on by themselves, buzzing, flickering, like something or someone is trying to speak. She paints the alphabet on the wall, hangs Christmas lights over each letter, and for the first time, Will communicates. She asks him, "Where are you?" The light flashes a message: "Run." Chef Jim Hopper, skeptical at first, starts investigating the lab. He discovers lies, altered security tapes, and government cover-up. When Will's body is found, Hopper touches it. Something feels wrong. He cuts it open, stuffing a fake body. That's the moment Hopper realizes the lab is hiding something bigger than anyone can imagine. Meanwhile, Nancy Wheeler searches for her missing friend Barb. She teams up with Jonathan Pierce. Together, they find photos, claw marks, evidence that something monstrous is haunting people. Nancy sees the Demogorgon in the woods with her own eyes. Its face opens like a flower, a nightmare made of death, a nightmare made of teeth. They prepare traps, weapons, determined to fight back. Mike and his friends hide Elle in Mike's basement. They discover she can locate Will using her powers. She enters a physique void, a dark, silent space, and sees Will barely alive, hiding, terrified. The kids realize one thing: there must be a gate, and they need to find it. The Upside Down, a mirror of their world, but dead. Same houses, same rooms, but covered in veins, spores, and shadows. Will is trapped in Castle Byers, his little fort, holding onto whatever hope he has left. Everything explodes in the final act. Government agents arrive at the school to capture Elle. She steps forward, raises her hand, and sends soldiers flying like dolls. But then the Demogorgon arrives. The kids hide, the creature gets closer, and Elle knows what she has to do. She looks at Mike and whispers, "Goodbye." She uses the last of her power, destroys the monster, and disappears with it. Meanwhile, Joyce and Hopper enter the Upside Down. They search through the rotting, foggy world until they find Will. He's unconscious, tangled in veins, barely breathing. They pull him free, perform CPR, and Will finally gasps for air. He's alive. He's alive. Hawkins returns to normal, but not really. Hopper leaves food in a box in the woods. The camera reveals who it's for. 11. She survived. At home, Will coughs, rushes to the bathroom, and spits out a tiny slug from the Upside Down. For a moment he flashes back into the dark world. He hides it from his family, but we know the truth. The gate is still open. And that was season 1 of Stranger Things, a mystery, a monster, and the story of that had started all. Thank you for listening.